Today we're with Warren Ingram, co-founder of Galileo Capital, and Shirley van Rooyen, financial planner in Galileo Capital, and we're talking about Wealthbit. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks, Shirley. So, Warren, you've been extremely vocal on other software providers. You haven't mentioned their names, which is fair, but what's been your experience of other software providers, financial planning software providers, and why did you decide to move to Wealthbit?
I think to give someone watching this the best sort of analogy I can find, it's a bit like being the first ever client of Tesla when Elon Musk launches the company and says, I'm going to make a self-driving car. And you get so excited about what it can do and what he's promising you and all the potential and all the things that could happen one day. And then 10, 15 years later, you're still waiting for the self-driving car. To get a software provider that would provide a financial planning solution that we could use and our clients could use that would be seamless and do all the things with all the bells and whistles was extremely difficult for us to find. And in fact, all the promises that were made were routinely broken. And so for me, that was hugely frustrating. And to get to the point where when there's a breakdown of trust, we're not prepared to pay money to someone to lie to us. And I think the key for people watching this is, financial planning is not static, and the technology world is not static. So now you've got two major variables that are moving and evolving quite quickly. So if you're looking at help with your financial planning as a planner for your clients, their expectations, the client's expectations are adjusting, our expectations are adjusting, and then being able to get someone to go with you on a journey reliably is very difficult. It's not going to be, here's a product, you're going to use it forever and you're never going to change again. It must change. And that's fortunate and unfortunate. But I think it's a nice journey to go on. But then you have to have a trusted partner that delivers that with you as the world changes. You know they have to adapt. But then that's done reliably. And I think that for us was key.
Yeah, and just a shared vision for what we want from a solution like Wealthbit. I think from day one, we've had very similar expectations of one another, but also that, the client is the focus in all of this and making it easier for a client to be able to manage their information and their planning on their own.
And following from that, what's your experience been like of the Wealthbit team? So usually the post-sales experience is very different. Getting you on board, everyone gives you a lot of energy. After you actually sign up and you join them, everything changes. Has that been the case with Wealthbit?
So no, I think to be fair to you, we expected a lot, and so starting that journey was a case of saying, your team saying this is actually what we can do today. And what we've got is not the finished object, and we're not promising that this is the finished object. We're promising a rollout. We can't start until. And then the timelines that we were given were met to say, well, okay, we can start working on this. We'll deliver this by a particular date, and so on and so on and so on. And I think for us, that built a lot of trust to say that when you make a promise, it's going to be delivered.
What I found was also that you just had that personal touch. So I always had a contact point to talk through different situations with, and also, we had a sort of a relationship and not just us complaining and nothing being done. There was always some sort of feedback that we received when we engaged with you guys, which made a big difference for us.
I mean, Galileo we see as a firm which is probably 5 to 10 years ahead of the curve. And you've sort of seen the future of financial planning. And how does Wealthbit fit into that future?
I think it's one of the key drivers of unfolding a vision that we have. So for us, it's very difficult to find, let's say, in terms of financial services providers that have the technology to help us deliver. So what we need then are a range of tools from CRM, from data warehouses, from financial planning tools that are at least then themselves on the cutting edge, so that we can drag the financial services providers along with us, because they're always going to be the drag. They're not going to be at the leading edge. As much as they spin a story, they're not. And so for us to say, if we want to put enormous amount of control and power in our clients' hands and not be gatekeepers of information, then that's what you're going to play. That's the role you play for us, is that we become partners in financial planning with our clients, and we're partners with you to help that happen. So it is a partnership, and I know it's such a jaded piece of jargon to say partners and kumbaya, but the reality is that's what we're expecting. Is we expect people who have the same standard as us to meet those very high regard that our clients have for us and we have for our clients, to say we're all on a path and we don't want to be on the cutting edge. I would love to be 5 years behind the curve if that's what our clients wanted.
Yes.
Our clients don't want what is being delivered today. We would love to be fast followers.
Yes.
We don't want to be innovating. It's expensive, painful, draining, tiring.
Everyone fights against you.
Yeah, everyone's going against you and then saying you're difficult, right? We get called difficult often, and it's about focusing on the client, and that's what we're getting from you.
Yes.
Is there is it's an undiluted focus on what's the best outcome for the end investor, and let's make that happen.
Yeah. You've got a strong and growing team within Galileo, and I know you add advisors very selectively to your team. Has Wealthbit helped at all with scaling that team and sort of providing a predictable service to all of your clients?
Yes, I think it's mainly because it's a reliable system, and there is that consistency within the system.
Right.
So we know that all of our advisors are using the same system, but also getting the same results, which is obviously then specific to each individual client, but we aren't having strange variables being thrown at us all the time, from a bug perspective, as an example, where one client gets one result and another client gets a completely different result. So I think it gives confidence to each advisor, and that's definitely helped our team grow when we do onboard new advisors.
And I think the key for a financial planning firm is that if it was possible to find two people, clients who were identical with identical circumstances, and they arrived at our business dealing with two different financial planners who are using the same set of financial planning tools, that the client would get the right outcome, the same outcome. And then I think also, with respect to our planners, the system is not, it's impossible to say that any financial planning tool is idiot-proof, because it needs a level of sophistication to understand clients and understand financial markets and understand products. But if there is a decent level of understanding, you don't need to be a genius to use the tool. You don't need to be a techie, right? And I think that's the point. Yeah. It needs to be kind of a dinosaur like me that can sit in front of this thing and make it work and reliably get a good outcome. And I think that's also an ad for us.
It boils down to simplicity. I think that's the big thing, in a good way.
Yes.
Is that it's not overly complicated, and that therefore makes it more understandable for each of us when we're working through it.
It boils down to the question, what is the major role a financial planner fills in a client's life? And in arriving at that outcome for a client, how have you found Wealthbit's helped? And why would you recommend Wealthbit to other financial planners?
I think it's really just having that relationship with them to help them make decisions, but not impose a decision on them. So by using Wealthbit, they can make the tweaks that they would like to make on the system and see live what impact that has on their overall position. So I think for me, I think that's probably one of the key roles that Wealthbit has had in helping clients make different decisions in their financial journey.
I'm going to jump in because I think it's, you're at the end of the day, you're helping clients make the right decisions in the right moments.
Right.
And so they've got a set of objectives, and that might be different for everybody. But when the moment arrives where they need to make a sensible decision that's right for them, that you're helping them make that decision.
Right.
And I think you can get to jargon and cheesy bylines and all that stuff, but if you really distill it down, that they're sitting in an environment with somebody they trust that helps them make a sensible decision.
Yes.
And that's the key.
Right. Thanks so much for being a part of the Wealthbit journey up until now. We look forward to having these regular sessions and for you to hold us accountable to progress in the way that you need us to progress, to be useful to you.
We definitely will.
I know that.